as those people before. And we've won. And every time they went somewhere else and colonized. Now they've colonized here and they've gotten you. I've got to come and separate you from them and turn you back into spiritual people so we can conquer him, which is whom y'all call Satan. And prepare y'all to go back to Malakut. Malakut, what you say? What is that? There's three domains, and then there's lower and above. Nefsut, Malakut, and Lahut going up. Nefsut is the abode of Humain, which is what y'all are, the ones on earth. Malakut is the abode of Malaik, angelic beings, as you call them. And Lahut is the throne of the omnipotent with the seven veils. You follow? Okay. Solid, liquid, and gas. Okay. You're in solid. The angels are in liquid, and the Almighty is in a form of gas. Okay. All right? Now the liquid can become vaporized into gas or hardened into a solid. Now I'm here to turn the solid back into a liquid, and then back into a gas. You follow? But they're so intermingled with the mortals here, it's harder to find who's who anymore. They're so well trained to act like the devil and live like him and want like him and love like him and lust like him, and it's hard to find the good ones from the bad ones now. It's quite a confusing job because you meet people, you think they're spiritual beings, you start teaching them, and they're really physical, nothing but physical, total physical, and it becomes bewildering.
How would I know for myself?
You do know it from yourself. You already know if you're a spiritual being because you're not content here. When you look up at the sky, you get this fear. When they discuss UFO, it doesn't frighten you. You want to be picked up by them. It's a difference. Other people say, not me, I'm not going to no fly football. Then there's another people that say, why don't I see them? You even look up at night out your window and say, why can't I see one? When I've taken the congregation from this community, I said, you want me to prove you that they exist? I took hundreds of them to the mountains and said, now watch, they're going to come from that direction. And I called them and they came. And they hovered above them. They saw with their own eyes. But they can call everybody crazy if they want. As long as I got company in this insanity, I feel good. But they saw with their own eyes the ship, and I told them what to chant, and they chanted, and the ship came close, beamed light, and took off. I said, those people are waiting to take you. And that was it. That's my job. And you have got to accept it before he realizes how dangerous I am, and then I'll have to leave. And many times as we're sent to you, you either turn us into gods, or you call us prophets, you got all kind of crazy names you make up, because the men here cannot follow another what appears to be mortal without making him some type of a deity. Because they can't see it themselves. I mean, I'm a man too, so he must be God. Instead of just seeing themselves as students, or neophytes as you would have it, learning they have to turn you into a god or something. Or we would be gods compared to what the powers that you once had and that we have now. We would be gods compared to that, but you have the same power dormant. The same way your fingers there can play a piano. Right? Now, everybody's can't. But everybody has the ability to, who has working fingers to play the piano. Only a piano player knows that though. And they say, well, anybody can play this thing. You already know that as a piano player, though. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Sometimes what happens to me is like there's this force that comes out, and it's like really bright and kind of warm,
yes,
but I can't seem to control when it comes out or when it doesn't. I know that when it does come out is when I've kind of left myself or my self-consciousness, and then all of a sudden it'll be there.
All right.
And I notice that when that happens, whatever I need to have happen, it happens.
Well, that's you. That's the real you. Whenever, and you want to learn to control that?
Right.
You take and you put your hands in front. Everybody can do this. You put your hands in front of your face, and you clap your hands until you create a hollow sound, not a slap. It's a hollow sound. Not just, hear the difference? And once you've done that, you put your hands down on your lap and say to yourself, relax and let go. And just drop. Relax and let go. and just drop. And you feel your body start to relax in your hands from when you slapped them, when you brought energy to them, start to tingle because the blood going back into the cells. But that blood is carrying oxygen, energy. And you start to feel it move to the center of your body. And that feeling can start to come out. Then you stop it. It's exercise. You don't let it go. You stop it, and you get up and go about your business. And you practice it a little bit every day. And you let it come out a little further each day. And then you will control how well it travels and where it goes.
But I noticed that other people can see it.
Of course they can.
But at first I thought only I could see it.
Because that's easy. Then you don't have to explain it. It's so much easier. Because when people see things, they say, hey, what's that? And then you got to say, I don't know. Like I said earlier, you don't take on the responsibility for things that you are. You refuse them. I'm not going to explain that. They just leave it alone. So you would have to pursue the meaning of it in order for you to explain it. And that you don't feel like being bothered with, because you're frightened about what it might really be. Well, now when you know it's really the essence of you, it's the higher of you, the real you, now become familiar with it. And when you hear that high-pitched sound, it usually precedes it in your ear, that little high-pitched sound, move your body to vibrate at that point. You understand? Yeah. Usually before it'll happen, listen, you hear like a high buzzing sound above you, right? Move your body up to that point. Sit and place yourself at a point where you have a level, where you say, I'm at the middle. Say it, your mind, I'm at the middle, or I'm at the bottom or the top. And then envision that sound above you and pull yourself up to that point with that sound. You understand? And it can open up and you'll see a ship. If they're convinced that it won't frighten you, that's also part of that fear. When adrenaline raises, the scent of adrenaline, which is the killer instinct in human beings, what frightens angelic beings away. Because man does have in him a killer instinct. And that scent comes up when his adrenaline moves. And all creatures know that you're about to kill with or without reason. So even angelic beings withdraw when that fear comes out of you. When you get afraid, they move away from you. Okay?
Imam Isa, I want you to further elaborate on that word cherubim and where they came from and what their purpose here is.
You want me to, or would you like me to?
Yeah, I would like you to.
Oh, thank you. Before the creation of human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a realm called Malakut. This realm was inhabited by two races of beings. It had various species. These two races were called, in your present-day language, cherub and seraphim. They were what you refer to as angelic beings. But just like you have the two races on earth today, which came out of that, you follow? Prior to this, there was two on a spiritual plane. The ruler of this, or the Khalifa of that realm, was called Mikael, which is Melchizedek, or El-Khidir, which comes from the word Mik, to be like, Mithlif Lillahi, to be like Allah. He was the angel who ruled all the archangels. Okay? And they ruled this abode called Malakut, prior to the creation of Adam in the physical form. And then, certain beings within the race of the cherub wanted to rule that domain because Michael spent so much time behind the fifth veil of Lahut, which starts another whole conversation, which I try not to go to, and rebelled against Michael's rule, which caused a battle in the domain of Malakut, which you all call the battle of the angels. You see? And the angels that stayed with Michael, the seraphim from his race, were successful over the cherubim. and the cherubim were utterly removed from the plane of Malakut, except some of them who did not follow the wicked one, which is not who you know as Azazel or Iblis. This is before him. Okay? What Mikael did was he took one of these young cherubim as an example, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put the tree as an example of good and evil. He put one of them in the midst of the seraphim to see if they could repent, save this race by raising him in truth, the light